Good day, everyone! This is Christine Joy Magdasoc. I was assigned by my groupmates to discuss the topic, the holistic understanding of peace and violence. So for the first part, Miss Luces is the one who prepared the presentation together with Miss LOAZADA. So, let us now proceed to the PowerPoint presentation.
So at the end of this presentation, you are able to now define the concept of peace and violence in a holistic way. A holistic understanding means to use the perspective of the big picture. Yung mas maintindihan natin siya sa mas malawak na paraan, sa mas malaking picture. The approach involves not just understanding the parts, but understanding interconnection and interdependencies between the parts. Ito yung maiintindihan natin siya, the word itself or the word alone, and kung ano yung mga interconnection niya with another.
This is the definition of peace. Peace is a concept of societal friendship and harmony in the absence of hostility and violence. In a social sense, peace is commonly used to mean a lack of conflicts, such as war, and freedom from fear of violence between individuals or groups. But a holistic understanding of peace is, according to Mindanao Church Peace Congress 1996, peace is not just the absence of war. It is the wholeness of life where every person can live with dignity. And according to Johann Galtung, peace is the absence of violence, not only personal or direct, but also structural or indirect.
Peace is when people are able to resolve their conflicts without violence and can together to improve the quality of their lives. Peace is not only the absence of conflict, but also it requires a positive, dynamic process where dialogue is encouraged and conflicts are solved in a spirit of mutual understanding and cooperation.
So, a new way of thinking about peace is important today. Bakit? Our ideas shape our feelings and our actions as well as how we live and how we relate to each other. Prof. Jeff Capra has argued for a change in thinking about both concepts and values as a necessary first step to solve our many problems today.
Early secular writings on the subject of peace indicate that peace was defined as merely the absence of war or direct violence. This negative formulation was first given by Hugo Grotius in 1625. The simplest and most widespread understanding of peace was the absence of death and destruction as a result of war and physical or the direct violence. An alternative view started to emerge, beginning with the late 1960s. Attention shifted from direct to indirect or structural violence, ways in which people suffer from violence built into society via its social, political, and economic systems. This is according to Hicks 1987. It was realized that it was not only war and direct violence that caused the death and discouragement. Structural violence also led to death and suffering because of the conditions that resulted from it. Extreme poverty, starvation, avoidable diseases, discrimination against minority groups, and denial of human rights. Ito daw yung mga results or ito yung mga causes kung bakit nagkakaroon ng structural violence na naglilid sa pagkamatay or pagsuffer ng iba't ibang kondisyon ng mga tao. It was further realized that a world marked by sad conditions is a world devoid of peace and human security. It breeds anger and generates tension leading to armed conflict and war. Yung dahil daw dito, nawawala na ng peace and human security. lahat ng tao ay nagagalit at nagkakaroon na ng tensyon na nagre-result na sa pag-aaway-away or nagre-result na sa war. Johann Galtung, a renowned peace theorist and researcher, argues that structural violence occurs when the wealth of affluent nation, groups, or individual is based on the labor and essential resources drawn from nations, groups, and individuals who, as a consequence, are required to live diminished lives and deprivation. This is now a consensus that we need to have a comprehensive and holistic understanding of peace if we are to move toward a genuine peace culture. Johann Galtung explains that peace is the absence of violence, not only personal or direct but also structural or indirect. The manifestation of structural violence are the highly uneven distribution of wealth and the resources as well as the uneven distribution of the power to decide over the distribution of said resources. Peace is both the absence of personal direct violence and the presence of social justice. The meaning of peace can be captured by the idea of the negative peace and the idea of a positive peace. There are two types of peace, the positive peace and the negative peace. Positive peace is presence of just and non-exploitative relationships. Peace with nature is considered the foundation for positive peace, according to Mission 1987. It is not possible to provide for human survival if nature's capacity to renew itself is impaired. And the negative peace is the absence of physical or the direct violence such as war, crimes, riots, and revolutions.
I'll end this presentation with this quote. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. The test of a marriage is when the going gets rough. The test of peace is the ability to handle the conflict without the recourse to violence. Conflict always comes up, but in the societies that have peace, we see that conflict resolved without necessarily resort to violence. And I believe that that's the aspiration that we should have moving forward as well. Thank you for watching and listening. See you again to my next video. Everything we do because we want to end violence. We simply believe that violence is bad and peace is good. Good day everyone, this is Christine Joy Magdasoc. So I am going to continue the discussion about the holistic understanding of peace and violence. My part will be the holistic understanding of violence. So I hope you enjoy this discussion.
Holistic understanding of violence. Violence occurs when someone experiences violence against them, but no specific identifiable individual or social actor perpetrated that violence. Instead, the violence is carried out by the social structure, which is sometimes referred to as social injustice.
So, violence is discussed in broad terms, including actions that people take to hurt themselves, other individuals, other groups, social structures, cultures, and nature in the present or over time. And sometimes, it's also affecting future generations.
There are types of violence. According to Betty Reardon, a peace educator who has made significant contributions to the field, defines violence as humanly inflicted harm. Conceptual Map of Violence done by Tos Wee-Hin and Virginia Kawagas, 1987. It is a typology that indicates the various types or forms of violence and some examples or illustration of each type in the personal, interpersonal, social, and global levels.
Paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng violence? Pumapasok daw yung violence when violence is inflicted with someone or it was inflicted with someone prevented from reaching their highest potentials physically and mentally.
Peace education as transformative education. Peace education, or an education that promotes a culture of peace, is essentially transformative. It cultivates the knowledge base, skills, attitudes, and values that seek to transform people's mindsets and behaviors that, in the first place, have either created or exacerbated violent conflicts. Promoting nonviolence. According to Mahatma Gandhi, the man who led people of India out of British subjugation, helped the following beliefs about nonviolence. These are just the several. I didn't put all. A person or his/her deeds are two distinct things. Hate the sin, but not the sinner. If we fight back in a violent way, we will become the vandal, and they will become the law. Non-violence is more powerful for converting the opponent and opening his ears, which are otherwise shut to the voice of reason. Then, according to Martin Luther King Jr., he believed in the same principles that Gandhi held on to. These are the several. Non-violence does not seek to defeat or humiliate the opponent, but to win his friendship and understanding. Non-violence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Non-violence thrives on love rather than hatred. Non-violence requires willingness to suffer and amazing discipline in the midst of provocation. Non-violence holds that suffering can educate and transform. Why non-violence? It is because it is both ethical and moral choice. According to Gandhi, destruction is not the law of humans. Non-violence is a practical choice. Tools and effect of violence are costly. Non-violence works.
We believe that everybody who has seen or experienced violence for real wants to live a peaceful life rather than a violent one. We believe that you and everybody else possess the power to do something great with your life and to positively affect the lives of the people around you. This will be the end of my discussion. I hope you gain a learning from our presentation. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Thank you.